reliving the past. Key dates in the Protestant calendar are December the 18th, when 13 apprentice boys closed the gates of the city of Derry against the army of Catholic King James, and August the 12th, when the siege was lifted. It all happened 300 years ago, but to a Protestant of Londonderry, it could have been yesterday. This film looks at the Protestant community of Ulster through the eyes of two young men, one from the city and the other from the country. Today they are drummers accompanying the Apprentice Boys as they march through the streets of Londonderry. In time, they too may join their elders in one of the 8 Apprentice Boys clubs which keep alive the memory of the defence of the city. Every 12th of August, the Apprentice Boys clubs claim the right to march through the streets of the city. Each branch is accompanied by a band, and only in recent times have marches through Catholic areas been curtailed.
BBC Radio 4 News, Paul McCauley reporting. Over 10,000 Apprentice Boys have been marching through Derry this afternoon in celebration of the 299th. It has been tight, both in the waterside and the city centre, and a screen was erected at Butcher Street to block the entrance to the bogside. But there have been no reports. The North, Britain and the Irish Republic took part, with a similar number of bands. Unionist politicians including Ian Paisley, Ken McGuinness, Martin Smith and William McRae walked with their respective clubs. Earlier at a service of Thanksgiving, Belfast Presbyterian minister Reverend John Dickinson told Apprentice Boys that Protestantism will triumph in spite of the present killing and maiming and the policies of the British government.
We welcome the Apprentice Boys into the cathedral. We feel that they have very much a spiritual side to their organisation. We feel this emphasises it, and they come here for their parade, which is quite a lengthy parade, but we would say that the most important thing is probably the service here in the cathedral.
St Colum's Cathedral and the Old City are on the west bank of the River Foyle. They have a key position in the Protestant heritage, but today are almost entirely surrounded by Catholic areas, the Bogside being the most famous. The Protestants now live predominantly on the east, waterside bank. The signs of division are everywhere. It's the second largest city in Northern Ireland with a population of 90,000. But the community is so polarised, there's not even agreement on its name. To the Catholics, it's Derry, while the Protestants say, no, it's Londonderry. It was at the time of the Apprentice Boys' March in 1969 that the riots took place, which led to the troops being brought in, originally to protect the Catholics. The Mitchell family are amongst some of the few Protestants left on the West Bank. They worship at Carlisle Road Presbyterian Church.
For thy mercies which are renewed from day to day, for the love which surrounds us.
and live in the Fountain, an enclosure of 140 families separated by high fences from the Catholic bogside. Many of the 400 people of the Fountain dare not leave their small, enclosed world. Every August the 12th, the street decorations go up, adding yet more colour to the permanent slogans and wall paintings which illustrate the Fountain's history, as its inhabitants see it. For many of the youngsters, like 18-year-old Spencer, who works as a baker's labourer, social life is limited and centres on the estate's flute band. Does he still feel under siege?
You do in a way. You're hemmed in always. Everywhere you walk, there's Catholics everywhere, just around it. Right the way around.
John Rankin organises the flute band and is a community leader. Why, after 300 years, is the siege still celebrated with such fervour?
Well, it was a great victory and everybody thinks it should be remembered.
Does the community still, in some sense, feel under siege?
The community up here does feel under siege because, as you can see yourself here, we're surrounded by tins and fences and walls, and all the pensioners up the top of the Fountain estate itself have their windows shielded by wire mesh because they're under constant attack. This isn't just during the celebrations, this is every weekend.
What sort of attack?
Stones and bottles and verbal abuse, you know.
Coming from?
The Republican side of a fence there in Bishop Street.
Some months ago, there was an attack where, I suppose, a fairly large group of youths attacked the area. It was after a football match between Derry City and I don't know the other team, but they had lost anyway. I think that the frustration of the supporters coming back, I think that this was as good a way of getting their frustrations played out by attacking the area.
So how did you defend yourselves?
Well, normally it's not a conscious thing to defend yourself. You know, it's not a conscious thing around the area to defend yourself because we don't think we're under attack all the time. But if an attack does occur, it's usually the response is that you usually hear a horn going off or something like that there, and those who are able are out to protect their homes. And
what do you take with you? How are you armed?
we can only confront them in body en masse. Or usually there's a lot of stone throwing from both sides, and it's just a confrontation. There's of stone throwing. You know.
Would you take any weapons?
Weapons, you mean as guns or things like that there? No, that's not on. No.
Or a stick?
There may be sticks used at some stage or another, but it's usually, as I say, it's a stone thrown about between those communities, you know, the youth.
What would happen if somebody from, say, the Bogside came over to the Fountain?
If there's a while out of them, you know, say about 10 or 12 or something, well, you'd have to go out and defend, just beat them down a lane or something like that there until they go away. If they don't go away, then you have to start throwing stones or something to try and provoke them to go away. And if they don't go away, then it's a police. Somebody just has to phone the police, and then the police will come in and move them.
What happens if you go over the other side?
I never go over the other side. I hardly ever go on the other side unless I'm on a taxi come back from work or somewhere like that there. I've got one kick in, a couple of thumps just, and that was it.
The band to which Spencer belongs was founded in memory of a local man, William King, who died from a heart condition when he was beaten up in 1969. Initially a rowdy street band, it's become a focus for the young and not so young in the community, and a means of expanding their horizons.
If it wasn't for that band, I would just be here all the time. Just the band go to parades, like Ballymena and Coleraine and that there, so the band takes you out as well. That's why I mainly joined the band, to get going places.
And the band's musical horizons have extended too. It has now been All-Ireland Melody Flute Champion 5 times, and practices regularly at the Apprentice Boys Hall in the Old City, just next to the Fountain. The people of the Fountain take great pride in the band, which provides a welcome diversion from the problems of everyday life. Have you ever felt like moving?
Yes, I have.
And what has kept you from moving?
Well, my husband just doesn't want to move at the present moment. He prefers to stay on this side.
What would your neighbours say, though, if you decided that you were going to move? Would they see it as you surrendering?
Well, there's a possibility. From a man's point of view, they would see it more so as Thompson surrendering than they would me surrendering.
For the families in the fountain, the day of marching is preceded by the night of the bonfire, when a Republican tricolour is burnt under the watchful eyes of the British Army and RUC. In the Protestant bars, spirits are high, and such loyalist favourites as "The Sash My Father Wore" are sung loud and often. And in the fountain, even the Bible and crown on a plinth in the street sings.
That's the same as Irish dancing. That's traditional. They've got their Irish dancing. We've got our parades. Just a traditional thing. Just what's been going on for centuries. Like, so you might as well just keep it going on now. Why should it stop?
It's all part of being a Protestant, is it? To be involved.
It's mainly it.
The family is fiercely loyal to the British Crown. Spencer once tried to join the Royal Marines, and his brother is in the Royal Navy. Saturday, the day of the march. The band warms up before meeting with the local No Surrender Apprentice Boys Club. The carnival atmosphere hides deeper emotions. In recent years, 2 members of the close-knit fountain community have been shot dead during disturbances, one a member of the band. Many of today's 10,000 marchers will be members of the Ulster Defence Regiment, who are in constant conflict with the IRA. Some of the marchers may too be members of the loyalist paramilitary groups. It's exclusively a Protestant day. The Catholics stay quietly at home.
Our band is saying it's well known in the town, and if you come to a good group of people, they start to clap you. It's a great thing. You just go off on it.
As in Londonderry, so in the rest of Northern Ireland. Donamanor is a quiet village 15 miles from Londonderry. It has few of the tensions of the city, as it has an almost exclusively Protestant population. It too is fiercely loyal to the Crown. The pavements are painted red, white and blue. The village has a pipe band which practices in the Orange Hall and travels to Londonderry with the Donamanor Apprentice Boys Murray Club to march on the 12th. It's a big day for the village, which is suitably decorated for the occasion in the loyalist colours. The Orange Hall is in the centre of the village and at the heart of community life. One of the drummers in the band is Alistair Forbes. He's 18, has just left school and hopes to become an electrician. Like all the other drummers, he practices conscientiously at home.
My first memories of the band were the band going up to a church service up the road there, and I remember the side drummers drumming, and I really wanted to do that here.
Why did you decide you wanted to join?
Well, I've always been interested in the drumming. My father, he was a drummer, and he gave me the interest in it.
And it goes back further in the family?
Oh yes, it goes back generations in the family. Right back 70 years ago. Before that there was a flute band before the pipe band, and my family was involved in that. Then the pipe band was started. How old were you, Bob, when you first got into the band? What age were you?
I was only 8.
Only 8?
8, beating the triangles.
Beating the triangles?
Mm.
Was that 12th of July, was it?
Alistair's great-uncle Bob, now 93, was a founder member of the band and the local branch of the Apprentice Boys Murray Club.
How did you travel on to the Apprentice Boys and to Londonderry?
Oh, we had a branch of our own out here.
Did you?
A branch of the Murrays and still has.
3 days before the march, with the band practicing downstairs, the Apprentice Boys hold a special meeting upstairs. Members of the local community, shopkeepers and farmers mostly, sat in their regalia while the chaplain read from the Psalms. It's the first time such a meeting has been filmed.
Ye, let alone that wait on me, be ashamed.
Many of the Apprentice Boys are also members of the other private Protestant organisations, the Orange Order and the Black Preceptors. The stories of the past are not always remembered accurately, but the meanings behind them are clear and all-important.
Well, the Orange, that's a religious organisation which commemorates the Battle of the Boyne. And then the Black, well, that's a step further than the Orange. And the Apprentice Boys, that commemorates the 12th of August.
And what happened on the 12th of August?
Well, that was the apprentices of Londonderry shutting the gates so that King James couldn't get in.
Well, they're all actually separate organisations, you know, although we have the same members, maybe in each, but they're actually based on the Bible to promote and to uphold the Protestant religion, and we're to be tolerant towards our people who don't believe the same as ourselves. We want civil and religious liberty for ourselves.
Is it important for the survival of the Protestant tradition?
I would say it is, because we can show by our appearance on the streets, more or less, how strong you are in numbers. And the churches are fairly strong here, but at the same time you don't really know, because you don't see them out marching. We can go out and we can put maybe 100,000 on the street, which is a lot of people, especially in a small province like Northern Ireland.
The morning of the day of the parade, Alistair makes last-minute adjustments to his uniform. The bands march through the waterside, the Protestant east bank of the river. But the main point of the parade is to lay an annual claim to the old city on the west bank. Pipe bands like Donnamana in their kilts remind fellow Protestants of their Scottish ancestry. In general, it's the younger generation who form the bands. They, in time, graduate to one of the Apprentice Boys' branch clubs and qualify to march in crimson collarettes and regalia. The bands and clubs are strictly disciplined, and in Donnamana, at their special meeting, the Apprentice Boys were warned, as were all branches, against bad behaviour. Often drink is a problem.
Who, by their actions, would bring discredit to the crimson colours. Bands should be instructed at an outset of the day as how they are expected to behave. Any conversation of General Committee rules will be severely dealt with. The bells will be rung and the flags hoisted. A general wearing of the siege colours crimson is requested. Signed Samuel Shepherd, Governor. Signed Derek Muller, General Secretary. No surrender, God save the Queen.
So what happens then when somebody becomes an apprentice boy officially?
His name is brought forward by a friend. He proposes that friend and somebody seconds it. And then the name goes forward towards the meeting. And if everybody's agreeable, he is made, and then he's introduced into the club here. He can't wear his crimson collarette until he goes in within the walls. And once he goes inside the walls, he's a fully pledged apprentice boy, and he can wear his crimson collar.
Every 12th of August, hundreds of loyalists come to the memorial hall on the city walls overlooking Catholic Derry to be sworn in as apprentice boys. They come mainly from Ulster, but some travel from Glasgow and Liverpool, even Canada and America, to be part of what they see as their heritage. No one can call himself an apprentice boy of Derry unless he has gone through the prescribed ritual within the city walls. The ritual is rather Masonic in tone, and it's interspersed with readings from the Bible. The candidate must formally declare that he's a Protestant, that he will support the rightful succession to the throne and uphold the Crimson Banner. In the ritual words of the President to the new apprentice boy, as they, that's the original Apprentice Boys, thus maintained inside Derry's walls the resistance of the Protestants of Ulster against the powers of tyranny and bigotry, so may their memory inspire you to uphold the freedom that they won, and like them obtain a good report through faith.
Thou hast given a banner to those that fear thee, that may be displayed because of thy...
On the morning of the march, in a room in which we weren't allowed to film, new apprentice boys pledged their loyalty to the Crown and the movement.
Be strong and courageous. Be not afraid.
The traditions are being passed on from generation to generation.
There seems to be no lessening of the tradition, actually. It seems to be as alive now as it was when I was a boy a few years ago. And seems to be going on from strength to strength, and I can't see any weakening of it, actually, you know.
And this is a good thing, is it?
I would say it is, I would say so.
Does the Protestant communion still feel under threat in any sense?
I would say maybe not so much on land, but I'm sure on the border areas they feel a lot under threat, you know, with the way things are going.
You were saying that up to maybe 100,000 Protestants can be marching, can be on the streets. What do you think the Catholic community thinks of that?
Well, we would feel that they would see us as demonstrating our faith, actually. And we wouldn't like to think we would find anything difficult about it, you know, really. After all, I mentioned beforehand their tolerance as the word, actually. We tolerate them, they tolerate us.
Young men like Spencer, living in Protestant Londonderry, have imbibed the loyalist history and folklore from infancy. The events of 300 years ago, commemorated in the Memorial Hall, are still very real. They protest, witness to their faith and heritage in the only way that makes sense to them. But what do the Catholics make of it each year when a cannon is fired from the city wall in full view of their homes to mark the start of another bout of Protestant triumphalism?